Hello, this is Sosene Leao, and it's a continuation of what I shared with you from the first three videos I had. Shared with you my introduction, my all of that. But I want to ask you a question. Have you ever in your own life or met people where they once were having a very good relationship with God, and then the requirement to know God on a different level emotionally and mentally, they got stuck? And they got stuck because terms like God the Father. And that has been a stumbling block for a lot of people because as I hear them talk, I ask them questions of what's the problem. And they said that I had one lady, young lady that, was in the class that I was in. She seemed to be from a very wealthy family, a well-to-do family. And I thought, why would you have a problem with your dad? And she said, because my dad never told me that he loves me. This might be a small thing to some people, but I have found a lot of young people, a lot of people in the world today that have a good start with their relationship with God. And when they go into more details of knowing God the Father, they begin to look back into their lives and see that their father was never like this. And so they began to translate all of their emotional experience from their parents and people of authority they live with into a relationship with God, and it doesn't work. It doesn't mix. So how can we help these people? And that was part of my own journey, was talking to people. And just because of my own background, I grew up with my dad left my mom before I was born. I had two older siblings, two sisters who both live in San Diego. But my dad left home before I was born. And when I was born, I was raised by my grandparents who greatly loved me. I love them so much. They left an imprint in my life. As a matter of fact, I carry their last name because I love them. And then, but I had made vows as a little kid, and even at high school, I was saying, when I see my dad, I was going to hurt him because of what he did to my mom, and therefore what my grandmother told me. So that was a part of my own upbringing. And so when I came to that encounter with God, where he showed me that he loved me and I belonged to him, all of that went away. And then the issues that we're dealing with is, how can I find a way to meet my dad, to tell him that I love him? And I'm not looking to him for all of the things that I wish I could do. And what I later on learned as I was working with people around the world, a lot of them stumbled in these issues. I've heard some of the worst things, like, I have some dear friends that I know very well. And then as we talked, the wife was having a hard time relating to God as a father. And I, talked to her and we prayed together. And then I said, is there anything that you can think of that caused this to happen to you? And then the secret thing came out, that she was sexually molested by her dad. So how do you reconcile God as a loving father in heaven to a father who abused you that way? This has been a mark of the X generation and a lot of young people. And I discovered, even as I am now living in Utah, I discovered that there are people who are suffering and struggling in this area. And that's why they can never really be intimate with God the Father, especially the idea of, I want to love him as a father. But that's a character of God. He's a father. and therefore all the longings and the desire to be belonged was ruined in a very careless way. So you have young people who are molested and abused by their father, their uncle, and their brothers and sisters. So how do you embrace that reality, knowing now that we say we love each other and we call each other brothers and sisters, and you look at that and there's a mental area in your mind that goes, but my brother or my uncle or my auntie or my father did this to me. So we all have these kinds of issues that marked us and stain our own emotional capacity to grow beyond what is currently available to us. And so what I do is I will later on in one video I'm gonna show you some of the steps that I took in helping and praying. I have seen so many, and because I work with a lot of young people, I also know that this is a real deal. A lot of them have pain that they carry inside. And how do you reconcile that to a loving God who loves you as a father and also loves you as a friend? So all of these issues compromise our desire, and most people got stuck right there. So like I said yesterday on the video on doubt, you begin to doubt yourself, have the ability to embrace God in that fullness of truth because of what happened to you at one time in your life. You also have, people, I'm talking to you right now, and there are some of you who have lived life to be in your 40s and 50s and have experienced the truth about relationship. Some have gone through divorces. And so you look at a God who wants to reconcile and make peace with everybody. How do you reconcile that? And again, that is part of what I'm going to have a video to show you the steps that I took with those people and how I was able to help people like that. So if you find any value in this video, click like and subscribe to the video, and you can come back because this is where I can share with you some of the things that I learned along the way. I will also share with you some of my own mistakes and things that I did wrong that I have had the time to reconcile and bring alignment to those things that can reinforce another level of loving God and another level of understanding God, because the Bible says the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. So not only do we want to know God, but as we understand who He is as a Father and get rid of all of the junk that we bring with our emotions to this relationship, we can find a place where He will minister to us. He will come and restore that which was with you and I before these things happened. And so if you find any value in this, click like or subscribe to my video so we can share this with more people who are looking for the same solutions in their lives. I am not talking to you about what I learned and what I wrote down on notes. I'm talking to you about living and helping real people all over the world on these particular issues. And thank you for stopping by, and I hope you come back and subscribe to the channel so that way we can make sure you get a notification when I upload another video. All right? Thank you very much. This is Sosene Leao. Bye-bye for now.